I'm well, sir. I trust you're well and keeping safe.
I'm breathing, so I'm fine.
Fantastic.
If
Fantastic.
I'm not breathing, that's where the problem is.
That's true. And thanks for joining us. Have you had any juice yet?
Juice?
Yes, fruit juice.
No. Are you offering me?
Do you want some?
Why not?
Okay. We'll try and whip something up for you. No
No
problem.
problem.
Mr. Roland Kofi Mbu is a former presidential staffer, and he's joining us this morning. Chief, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, sir.
I trust you're well.
Sure.
Great.
Thank God for granting us a favor and then the mercies to be alive this morning.
Great. We'll also be joined by Palgrave Bachidamkwa. He's the government spokesperson on governance and security. He will join us over the line. We're told that for the communicators they're on a retreat, and so he will have to join us via phone. He would join us shortly. Before we even delve into
Where's Palgrave?
He's in Koforidua. They've all gone for a retreat in Koforidua, so he can only join us via phone.
Who is all?
We're told all the government communicators.
Oh, really?
Yes. So he will join us via phone this morning. Before we delve with the issues on the table that I already table for discussion, I want to know your thoughts on what you just heard from the American presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Mr. Mbu, let me start with you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I take this opportunity to greet your listeners and, of course, my panel is here.
Thank you.
Lawyer Kwame Jantua, and also the one who is not here with us,
Palgrave. Yes, he will join us over the phone shortly.
And also to thank you for this opportunity granted me this morning to be part of this program. It is an opportunity because we are here to express our opinions and our thoughts, and of course to express this in a way for the development of our country and Africa at large. Listening to Joe Biden and then the debate in America is something that, well, I don't know. Looking at the age of Joe Biden, you realize that was a factor that was affecting him in his delivery in terms of coherence and then being able to articulate in a way that he would have. And so the age is affecting him seriously. And so the Democrats are finding it difficult to actually break down all that he was saying. And Trump, of course, was also saying whatever he would say. And it is stated that Trump was not being factual or truthful to all that he was saying. And of course, so when you look at it, it's all about the economy across the world. And if U.S. is talking about the economy, you can understand what people are, or the citizens are just all about.
Going through.
So, yes, today we listened to the debate, and I am pitying Joe Biden so much. Of course, I love the Democrats. I love Biden. But I think age is not helping him.
At the minute.
Yeah.
Should we have a debate in Ghana for our elections?
We should. We should. Issues that are around calls for a debate. And of course, the presidential candidates that are vying in for the position, and of course, the highest position. And so if we call for a debate between the presidential candidates, we'll get to know who is fit, who is capable, who has the competence, the ability to be able to manage our economy. Because where we have found ourselves is not something that we should be joking. Anything can happen. The anger in people, where MPP has led us to, the anger in people can explode, like what happened in Kenya. And so I think that we are at crossroads, and we need people who can deliver us. And I believe Joe Mama is capable of doing that because he has had experience, he's been there, he knows what it takes to be able to take us from where we are today. It's a mess. Looking at what is happening in Ghana.
Okay.
The current government doesn't care about anybody anymore. It's all about themselves. You don't see anything that they are doing from day to day to be able to get the citizens okay in their lives and everyday life. And so for me, I think where we have gotten to is a critical moment for us. Ghanaians should wake up, the issue arise, and then take our destiny into our own hands. The Constitution says that the sovereign will of the people is what we give it to individuals to lead us. And so if you are leading us in a wrong way, imposing taxes on us, and we are talking and you are not listening, this is where we have gotten to.
Okay. All right.
And so, yes, I just want to say that, yes, there is a need for us to call for a debate. Let the presidential candidates be out there. Questions are thrown to them as to how we'll get out of this economic quagmire. And that will lead us to be able to choose a particular candidate that can take us out. And I believe Jomama, His Excellency Jomama, will emerge the best.
All right. Paragraph Bajidankwa is joining us this morning. As I said, he's the government spokesperson on governance and security. He's on the line with us. Paragraph, good morning.
Good morning, Francis, and a very good morning to your listeners and your viewers.
Typically, I will see you in my studios looking very dapper on a Friday. Where are you?
I'm on a national assignment in one of the regions of the country, and I'm looking dapper as well. It's just that you cannot see me, but thank you very much.
Okay, did you watch the U.S. presidential debate last night? What did you make of it? Quickly.
I did. I think around 1 a.m. Ghana time, where the time that the debate was going on, I'd gotten home at the time, and everybody was glued to the set, trying to listen to what is happening. I think that, yes, of a truth, U.S. has gotten to a very, very critical stage in their democracy. You are seeing a former president who is coming back very strongly, Donald Trump, and you are seeing Biden as well, obviously, with his leadership. I would say that it's about time that we Ghanaians also call for a national debate, especially for people that want to lead us. And I had my colleague on the line having a conversation on Dramani Mahama, but I don't want to politicize the conversation this morning, but only to state is that everybody needs to be given a fair hearing for those that have led before and want to come back to lead, and for those that are leading and want to be given an opportunity again to continue. That what is at stake for everyone. And I think that in the collective interest of Ghana, I think that once we open the conversations up, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would be able to assert himself well for people to understand his vision and his drive that he wants to bring into the country.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Janto at this point, but mine to you will be a double-edged question. Your thoughts on the U.S. debate, whether we should have a debate here, and who represent the CPP at this debate, if it's to happen.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Good morning to our listeners. And good morning, Palgrave.
He's on.
Good morning, Uncle.
Good morning, Palgrave. Good morning to my comrade who I haven't seen in a while. Which side are you asking me? The American side or the Ghanaian
American
side?
first, and then we'll come to the Ghanaian situation.
The American people will have to decide whether they vote for someone who tends to falsify things, or someone they see, inverted commas and begin and close, infirm. It's up to the American people to decide. But as they say, it will come out in the end. On the Ghana situation, none of the presidential candidates so far are in their 70s. I think they're all in their 60s. So that vibrancy is there. How to articulate what it is they're offering Ghanaians is something that should be debated. It would be a great thing to debate Dr. Bawumia, debate Alan Chermatin, debate former President Mahama, and debate Cheddar in the mix.
Okay.
So far, these are the ones we know have put their names in the hat. And it will be interesting. The issues are multifaceted.
Before you move to the multifaceted, who represents the CPP in that debate?
I don't know at this present moment.
There are indications that your party is not following a presidential
No, that is
candidate.
wrong.
It's not true?
It's not true. No. That was a comment by one of the executives, but that is not the position of the party. And the party has brought out a letter to debunk that, a press statement to debunk
But when
that.
are you choosing that flag bearer?
I think in August.
August?
Yes. I think in August.
Is that not too late?
Well, that is what the party feels that's the time they can do it.
Do you agree with that perspective?
It's not whether I agree or I don't agree. It's a question of, is the party capable in terms of finances to be able to do things faster than, is expected. I don't think it's too late. August, then till December.
3 months.
Let's see.
To crisscross the country.
Look, my position is that we need a situation where the Nkrumah's groups come together. all the splinter Nkrumah's groups come together. And I will say it on this platform, and I'll keep saying it. The CPP as a party cannot do it on its own. I don't think so. Even if the CPP were to rear its head, Ghanaians don't like splinters. The ideology running through the Nkrumah's parties is one ideology. And I don't understand why it's so difficult for us to sit and say, let's all put our heads in one basket and move this vehicle forward. The 2024 election, so far, MPP, NDC, Afafranto, and Cheddar. The main ones there are the MPP and the NDC. And so, any other, and in terms of Ghanaians, and Ghanaians will look at more the two than any other.
Yes.
The Afafranto movement seems to be accelerating. They've come out with their
plan,
their plan,
manifesto of sorts.
and so far, when they met the AGI, NDC have met the AGI, MPP have met the AGI,
Yes.
Afafranto movement have met the AGI. So far, all three who met the AGI, the only ones who brought out detailed things that they wanted to do in detail was the Afafranto movement, which they've now brought their transformational plan out. I would say, let's wait till all party manifestos come out. Party manifestos aren't out. Would you say it's late? Would you say, it's a short time to market it to the people of Ghana till December?
Wouldn't you say so?
Well, I wouldn't say so. It depends on the strategy the party is using to make sure that their manifesto comes out. But the major discussion for this election is the economy. That's where it lies. Everybody knows it is the economy, and everybody sees where the economy is. As to how the economy should be tackled is what we are asking, or we're saying should be debated. So let's see. We're going forward. August, September, October, November. 4 months. A lot can happen in 4 months where politics is concerned. So I will end my case there.
All right. I guess we can deal with the issues on the table for discussion this morning. The first will be about the happenings in Kenya, and if there are any lessons for Ghana. You all know that the Kenyan president has had to this week withdraw the financial bill after days of protests by the Kenyan youth. Parts of their parliament house was torched. 5 of the Ghanaian MPs who were there on study visit were caught up in it. Thankfully, they are not injured. They are safe. We were told they will be back before the end of this week. Lives have been lost. They protested, about 5 of them were shot. We saw the statements from the Law Society and also from the judiciary roundly condemning the violence that had occasioned the protest that had happened in Kenya. Palgrave, let me start with you on this one. What do you make of this situation in Kenya, and are there any lessons for us here in Ghana?
Francis, I think that the Kenyans have a very peculiar issue. Ghana and Kenya have some similarities, of course. We have some bilateral relationships. We have Ghanaians who work in Kenya. We have Kenyans who work in Ghana. And we have free access to Kenya because of the bilateral relationships that we have. It's important people have an opportunity to exercise their democratic rights. Kenyans did. It's unfortunate that 22 of them lost their lives out of the incident. I'm not too sure what the lessons would be for us to learn from, because for us as a government, we know that we've passed the RTI law, which people are able to have access to information. We are aware as well that we are very attentive to the Ghanaian people and their plight whenever they bring it out. So I'm concerned with how people are beginning to link it, because I think over the week I saw some tweets from some members of parliament from the opposition side trying to inject a conversation of Ghanaian people trying to do what the Kenyans have done. I don't think that we have gotten to that state, and I don't think that we'll get to that state because Ghanaian people are very civil. We are very democratic. We understand ourselves, understand each other, the challenges that there are in. We're able to resolve them. And so, having seen that President Ruto has asked for the tax bill to be sent back to Parliament to be looked at, I think that we can just wish the Kenyans the best. We have our peculiarities in Ghana. We have a way we solve our issues in Ghana. We have a way we address our challenges and our concerns. And I will state that we continue to use the medium. And I'll use an example. The demonstration that was led by the Honorable Okujato Ablakwa and the petition that was submitted to the presidency, which was received by the Deputy Chief of Staff, the president has attended to it. Just this week, called the TUC in an extended meeting and asked it to relook at the conversation again over the next 2 weeks and bring him a report. And so if it's that example, people go on demonstration and we act on the demonstrating that the people do. And so I'm not too sure what lessons there are in that we can learn from Kenya.
What about the taxes that people are being made to pay, the cost of living today that people are raising concerns about?
You know, Francis, you recall that early this morning in the hours of Ghana and late in the U.S. when the debate was ongoing, it was all about the global economy. I mean, so there are global challenges that everyone is facing from Ghana to America to London to everywhere. Everybody is facing those challenges. And I can understand, yes, cost of living is high. Inflation is coming down a little bit. The cedi is depreciating to the U.S. dollar, and we're trying to work around it because we've just had our credit being worked on from the debt exchange program that the Minister of Finance put out. And so these are issues that are happening globally. And we, as a government, are addressing these issues, or we're looking at these issues to ensure that it doesn't aggravate more. And so I think that we're in a very good place in the country with meeting the needs of the Ghanaian people. And also we are at a very good place in the country where if people have concerns, we try to address those concerns in a democratic way.
All right. Mr. Mbui, what do you make of the Kenyan situation? Same question. Are there any lessons for Ghana as well?
Thank you very much. I think I can only send my condolences to the people of Kenya, and of course those who have lost their lives and their families or the bereaved families. And also to say we should learn lessons from distance across Africa and of course Ghana. No life is worth this death that people have died. I don't think we can afford to lose a single life. And like what happened in the 2020 elections, when we lost about 8 lives just because of elections, the right to choose your leader or your leaders resulted in the death of 8 people. The right to demonstrate and express your opinion, express your anger, express what you think is the right thing should lead to the loss of 22 lives in Kenya. It's very unfortunate, and I think the leaders of Kenya, the leaders in Kenya have not done well. Ruto should rethink and know that it's people that he's leading. He's leading people to get to a point that they will call themselves Kenyans and be proud as Kenyans. Because when things are going well, you are proud to call yourself a Kenyan or a Ghanaian. And so if today we are talking in Ghana and of course across Africa, we are only trying to see what we can learn so that it doesn't happen in our country. And so like my colleague Pagriff was talking, he says he's not sure whether we have gotten to that stage of the Kenyans. I think we have gone extremely past that stage of what the Kenyans saw and then rose up to fight the cause.
25% on bread?
You see,
15% on cooking oil?
yes, these are things that are broken down, and then when you put it together, let me, for example, talk of what they call it, inflation and the interest rate in Ghana, as compared to that of Kenya. And you will see what we are talking about here. Inflation in Kenya is 6.6%, and that of Ghana is 23.1%. What is it that should stop us from rising to fight for our rights? When you look at what is inflation, inflation is driven by food or basic things that one should have. And if inflation in Ghana is 23.1% and that of Kenya is 6.6%, and if you are mentioning bread or cooking oil or whatever, going by 25%, together it is still giving us about 6.6% cumulatively. But in Ghana, we are having 23.1% inflation rate. This is something that should anger people, to tell our leaders that we are not okay. When you look at interest rate in Ghana, we have about 29%. In Kenya, it's about 13%. How can businesses function? How can businesses operate? You go and borrow money from the banks, and then you are paying interest of, let's say, over 29%. You can't survive. Our debt to GDP ratio is 86. That of Kenya is 69%. Our currency depreciation, as at now, is more than 54%, and that of Kenya is 34%. So there's nothing that somebody can say that we have not gotten to that stage, and so we can't do or behave like that of Kenya. We can do more than that. Ghanaians are lenient, and the authorities should not take our leniency for granted. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So yes, if we are calling for our leaders to do the right thing, sometimes I wonder what people in position think of themselves whilst in position. It's transient, and definitely you get out. So if you mess the economy and you get out of power, how do you survive? And all we see is the impunity. People do things with arrogance, without recourse to the people and how they live their lives. And so the economy, like lawyer said, is a basic thing for us to campaign on. And that is what people will stand on to be able to elect their leaders. Like former President Kufuor said, she was sitting there and to Abba. He said Abapa. And so today, Ghanaians are going to look into their pockets and then see who can get them out of this situation. People cannot afford even 2 square meals a day, than to talk of 3, because things are very expensive. You go to the market and you can't buy foodstuffs. When they mention something to you today, tomorrow you go, it's a different thing. Our currency is depreciating. At the moment, a dollar to a CD, to CD is what, 16 cedis to a dollar.
Is that the case now? I think it's come down a bit, no? Yeah, 15.45 now.
The
Well,
pound,
15.7 is
the
come down a
pound,
bit.
the pound is 19.
The pound is 19. How can you survive in this situation?
Even 15 is too high.
Exactly. And so, please, colleague Paragraph, I don't think what is going on in Ghana is just because Ghanaians are too patient and then know that maybe in 4 years we'll go out and vote. We can't continue to be saying that Fama Nyami. It will not happen anymore. And so we are calling on the youth, we are calling on the women who are in the marketplaces to rise up. Let's vote out the MPP. Bring in the competent Mahama whose regime you enjoyed more than what these people threw out to you for you to vote them into power. And today we are suffering the way we are suffering.
All right. Mr. Jantua.
What has happened in Kenya is not only advice for Kenya, not only advice for Ghana, it's advice for the entire Africa. We don't seem to be able to handle the numerous natural resources we have for the benefit of our continent, Africa. And because education and literacy is at a certain low point, it becomes difficult for people to understand when certain things are being done, till it hits the last bottom, which then creates challenges. I don't want to go into the situations we find ourselves in. My colleague has enumerated quite a bit. But I would like to look at some of the lessons that can be learned from this Kenyan protest. One, government has got to listen to the people. The government must be able to prioritize the needs of the citizens and take their opinion into account when making decisions. Typical example is what we see with the Honorable Katie Hammond and his pricing of cement.
Mm-hmm.
There are good sides to it, there are bad sides to it. If you don't dialogue and you bring out a draft of an LI and you don't involve those who are within the confines of it, how do you expect it to pass? Yes, what Katie Hammond is saying has some gravitas. In terms of cement prices, just can't be increased and increasing. 2008, what were cement prices?
Sure.
2016, all through. It's now 105. I think it started at ACDs or something.
Yeah.
And one of the basic things in this world is housing. Basic. It's not a privilege, it's a right. When you look around the country, a lot of people are sleeping in kiosks. Where's the government's housing policy? So if government comes out and does not listen to the people, you get what has happened in Kenya. Number 2, transparency in governance. Transparency in governance. The government must be transparent, especially in all its dealings, especially when it comes to policy decisions that affect the economy. Can we say our government has been transparent with policies? Can we put our hands on our chest and say, majority of the policies that have come out, government has been transparent on it? No, I don't think so. And those types of things just gather up, just like dust, as dust gathers up. One of the major responsibilities of any government is to address economic hardships. In terms of prioritizing the policies that can alleviate economic hardships, such as high unemployment rates and high cost of living. The two are fundamental in Ghana, aren't they?
Yes.
High unemployment and high cost of living. How many people can afford 3 square meals a day today? You get petroleum engineers, you get people who have finished university driving taxis. I'm not saying the taxi profession is a bad profession, but with the level of education they've had, you don't expect them to be driving taxis. The other day, I went to my tailor. Then I saw a young man selling bulbs. He was passing by. So I stopped him to buy some of the bulbs. So I asked him, young man, is this the type of work you want to do for the rest of your life? You know what he said to me? I was shocked. It threw me. He has finished KNUST. And what do you think he studied?
You tell me.
Mathematics.
Wow.
Mathematics. He's selling bulbs. Youth. I was thrown. I said, are you sure? He said, yes. He took his phone out and he showed me his certificate on his phone. Walking, selling bulbs. How? How can this happen? How can it happen? Youth unemployment is a huge challenge in our country today. Huge challenge. Huge challenge. And you see, one of the mistakes we make is that where you are looking for continuity, we do not find that continuity. And that is a huge challenge for our country. Perpetual secession in this country does not bring continuity, but it should. So wherever a government left off, the next government that comes in should try and continue, but we don't, and it's a challenge. Engage the youth. Government must be able to engage the youth and
Your call
address
has
their
been put on
concerns,
hold. Please wait.
involve them in decision-making
Your call has been put on hold.
processes.
Please wait.
Do we engage the youth? It looks as if in Ghana there is old school and then there's the young ones.
New school.
There doesn't seem to be a bridge between the two. And there has to be a bridge between the two. The president should have a situation where, if not every quarter, every 6 months, he engages with the youth. He should have that program. Look, 2025 going forward, these are some of the things that need to be done. And it shouldn't be politicized. The president should, you see, and we tend to look at the presidency as a god. That the president is there because he's president and we cannot disturb him. Who voted him into power? Is it not the people? It's the people who voted him into power. So his responsibility more is to us than to any other. Responsibility is to us than to any other. He should be able to bring the needs and the needs and the wants of the people first and get to know. We have the Minister for Youth and what?
Youth and sports.
Youth and sports. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Don't you think we need a ministry for youth alone? Are they not the ones who would take over from the old ones?
Well, there are a number of youth agencies and authorities. Youth employment, YEA.
What is their impact?
Do you need a ministry for that?
What is their impact? Why not?
A standalone.
Yes,
The ministry
a
plus the agencies.
standalone ministry that will handle policies of the youth.
Okay.
It's important. Look at what happened in Kenya. Isn't it the youth? And don't you think if the president of Kenya looked to do what he wanted to do,
And called a dialogue, a national dialogue, and said, look, where our debt is heading for is challenging. We would need to raise taxes to do this. However, let's sit and agree the kind of taxes that need to be raised. 1. 2, let's sit and agree how we cut expenditure, government expenditure, how we cut it. And 3, let's look at the cost of production of some of these things that we have. Let's discuss it together as a nation. The taxes he brought in, wasn't it because of the nation? Should it be imposed or should it be discussed and everybody be part and parcel of it so that we can move forward? 22 people lost their lives. Is it worth it? Ruto has blood on his hands now, doesn't he? Doesn't he?
Yes.
Should it be that way? Look, one of the things we have in Ghana that holds us back from going that route. Yedoyahu. That's one thing about Ghana. Yedoyahu. And the family nyamit thing is strong. However, that Yedoyahu and family nyame will gradually, if you are not careful, would gradually dissipate because people are faced with realities. Rainy season, go and see the number of people sleeping in kiosks. Go and see the number of people sleeping in front of shops. Go and see the number of people who cannot afford 3 square meals a day. And this should not be a concern to government. Look, the other day, I was standing in my office, and my office is such that it overlooks a main road. As I sat there through the day, there were more than 5 ministers that passed in their 4x4 Land Cruiser. And how do I know they were ministers? They were public officials. they had a
Siren zone.
they had a motor rider in front of them.
Mm.
So here I am, sitting in the car park of a business building. Probably I'm there as an attendant, and I see these cars flashing by, and I haven't had anything to eat all day. What do you think could be going through my head? What do you think will be going through my head? Do you not think people would wonder, are these people concerned about my well-being? And it isn't something, Francis, we should joke about. Because gradually, as it seeps in, it would create a situation that would make it difficult to handle if it goes awry. One of the other major things that strings through is debt. Is debt. This Kenya thing, is it not debt?
Yes.
Ghana, is it not debt? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
How come we could not prioritize our debt? We could not say at a point, look, where we are today, and that is what I expected the MPP to do when they came in. Because when they came in, we were under IMF, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
They realized where the economy was going. I expected them to say, Ghanaians, where we are today, things are going to be challenging looking forward. If we do not halt some of our major projects that we want to do, we will put the economy in a very difficult situation and sit and prioritize those projects. It wasn't done. Capital flight was one thing that we didn't look at. So we took loans and there was capital flight going out and we did nothing about it. And we caught ourselves in a quagmire of the dollar depreciating the cedi. Look, when government talks about one district, one factory, I believe if they had prioritized one district, one factory properly, where, and I've said this on this platform before, where we looked at those commodities that created a lot of capital flight, we would have saved some dollars. Rice, sugar, poultry, the others, remind me, rice, sugar, poultry, all those heavy things we're importing. And now, what has even
Tomato puree,
tomato
cooking oil.
puree, we spent 300 million on what? Onions.
Yes.
Last year. All these things. What has even come to mind in terms of if one district, one factory was planned properly and we went down this line? Sugar was another one.
Yes.
We went down this line for the first 4 years of this government, where these major commodities were looked at. What has even now come to mind is clinker, where having a house, a roof over your head is a right. It is not a privilege, it's a right. And we import clinker. We spend $0.5 billion every year in importing clinker. Don't you think it should have been something that we ask ourselves, can we do clinker in Ghana? Do you think we can do clinker in Ghana?
We should.
We should. Let me tell you the components of clinker and tell me whether we have it in this country. Limestone. We have it, don't we? Clay.
Yes.
We have it. Silica sand.
We should.
We have it. Iron ore.
We do have
We have.
iron ore.
Bauxite. We have. Gypsum. We have. Pozzolana. We have. Fly ash. We have. This is the combination. When you mix it together, you get clinker, which goes to show we can produce clinker in this country. If government came, one district, one factory, we are
importing a lot of clinker that hits our economy. Let's see how we establish a clinker industry in Ghana, because we have the components to do clinker. Would that not have saved us the 0.5 billion dollars that we used to import? Would not have saved us. So did we plan properly? And these are some of the things that the policies that some of the policies that MPP brought out that are good, that it doesn't look as if it was planned. Because houses would be built every day. And remember, the moment the price of the price of cement goes up, anything to do with building also escalates.
It goes up, yeah.
So you ask yourself, where is the government's housing policy? If the ordinary man cannot afford, isn't it the responsibility of government to see how best they can help build for Ghanaians? And do you think if government was building for Ghanaians, the price of cement will go so high? Do we think so? So, not unless we are able, and you see, the sad thing is that it runs through Africa. It runs through Africa. It's not only Ghana. It's not only Kenya. Go to Sierra Leone. Go to Liberia. Go to Cote d'Ivoire. Go to Angola. Go to all these countries. And unfortunately, one of the major things that makes some of these things difficult to handle is the personal interest of politicians, and the fact that they don't bring the people before their own interests. And finally, we have lost that element of patriotism within the African context. Look, I have lived through all governments, and when I compare the kind of what word did I use just now? The kind of patriotism in the early days, in the 60s, and even in the 70s, heading into the 80s, was strong. Do we have patriotism in Ghana today? Political parties, do they not come first before country? When you have a situation where a leader of a political party is being taken to court, and then a whole opposition say, we are going to court to support our leader, fine. But don't you think the leader should be able to tell his people, you were voted into parliament to represent people. The business of parliament is important. So in as much as I appreciate what you want to do, let's not make government business and parliament lose time. Yes, there are some selected people who can come and join. By so doing, do you not bring the people of Ghana first? Do you not? Do you not bring the people of Ghana first? And that is what is missing in this country. The president doesn't bring the people of Ghana first, and sometimes the actions of the opposition don't bring the people of Ghana first. But it's the people of Ghana. We are going to an election now. They're coming back to us to vote for them, aren't they? Where is that selfish attitude of our politicians to make sure that the Ghanaian comes first? So, if we do not learn from what has happened in Kenya, then be ready. Because what happened in Tunisia? One man set himself alight because of what? He couldn't afford certain basic things. Look at what happened to the Arab Spring. And any foreign entity that comes into your country, any foreign entity that comes into your country, the Americans, the British, the German, the Dutch, the Dan, all of those, international bodies, yes, they will help you, but let me tell you something. They have personal interest and no personal friends. So if we, sitting in our country, cannot consolidate ourselves and come together, I don't understand why the president is not talking to John Mahama.
About what?
Generally. It would be nice, wouldn't it? every 6-8 months, both of them meet and talk about Ghana? We have 2 past presidents. Do they not have experience? Do they not have experience? Don't you think? And President Akufo-Addo started it. What stopped it? Are all of them not Ghanaians? Those in the NPP, those in the NDC, those in the are they not Ghanaians? Who do they represent? Ghanaians. And you are trying to tell me that if our existing ex-presidents who are still living, who have gained experience from ruling this country, and some have been in that mode in terms of the political heritage of this country, have been in it for years, and now they are ruling. Are you trying to tell me that those who are no more but have the experience cannot contribute, cannot help? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Why would we discard that knowledge they have and not use it to build the nation? And that is one thing we are not doing. Build the nation. So, if we do not take ambience from what has happened in Kenya, and as politicians, we still want to take the people for granted, let's see what happens going forward. I just hope in this election we are going into, nobody dies. Those 8 people who died in the last election, have we heard anything? Has anybody said anything?
No.
Has the president said anything? At least Ruto, is that his name? Ruto.
Yeah, Ruto.
He said, I concede. The voice of the people. I concede. I've cancelled this thing. He now has to find ways of stopping those within the protesters who want to foment trouble. But I asked myself, what did they use to stop the crowds? Was it live bullets or was it tear gas?
It was like both.
Both. Are you trying to tell me they couldn't have used water cannon?
They could have.
So why didn't they? Look, let me tell our military and our police, you're Ghanaians like us. Oh. You have children like most Ghanaians have. You have families like most Ghanaians have. So even if you want to stop a demonstration, a crowd that is violent or doing things untoward, use those elements that can hold them back and not shoot to kill.
All right.
Every Ghanaian's life, every African's life is worth it. Somebody said to me the other day, you should thank the sperm that came from your father that made you. It could have been different sperms that mixed with your mother's egg, and it wouldn't have been you. But that particular sperm made you who you are. So as much as possible, one, show respect to your parents, show respect to country.
Okay. Now, next matter has to do with the president speaking about the economic recovery that we're on and that the rebound is happening. He said he told us that he knows how to bring the economy back and not how to bring lives back. He's also appointed his executive secretary, Asante Bedieto, as the ambassador at large. Paga, let me start with you. On the 2 indices, is the president celebrating too soon? And also, what does the position of ambassador at large really mean?
Francis, your report that I mentioned to you that I'm on a national assignment. So once I'm done with this, I would like to ask for permission so that I can be excused to.
That's fine. Okay.
Yes, but if you can just give me a minute, if you can start with my other colleague, just a minute, and then I'll come back to the case.
All right, that's fine. So let me start with you, Mr. Mbui. He says I should give him a bit of time. After his submission, he might have to leave us. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity once again. I just want to say something that my senior Kwame Jentua said with regards to African countries and then what we are doing, not helping our citizens in terms of putting up and putting in policies that will actually get our people out of poverty and then deprivation that they are facing. You see, it's very true that African countries are not doing that. But we have the natural resources or the raw natural resources that every other country will need to be able to develop themselves. And so what we always would do is to send a raw to the international community for their development, and then, of course, bring back what is processed, and we buy that in dollars and high cost to the detriment of our people. You can't believe that the International Monetary Fund estimated that Kenya has a potential of 25% tax to GDP ratio. And their current tax to GDP ratio is 13.5. So the economic management team or the planning committee actually, through the medium-term revenue strategy, wanted to increase this thing gradually in order to meet somewhere to saying 15 to 20% to be able to rake in this revenue. Is it all about taxes? What are we doing? If the economic management team of Kenya will sit down without looking at what policies they can put in place to get into production instead of taxes, but will be listening to international or these Bretton Woods institutions, their predictions or projections or advices, and will implement them, causing death of 22 people. And if this is replicated in other countries across Africa, you can imagine 22 times the number of African countries we have. 54 African countries we have. That's too much a loss to Africa as a whole. We should not be doing this into our people. Thank God Ruto has reversed his gears. Like Kwame Dantua said, if you are sat down with your people, look at what is best for us. Democracy is for the people. Let's see what is good for us. Do it so that we all go along. Who doesn't want development? And of course, the corruption. Just like in our country, taxes are imposed upon us. Fuel prices are going up every day. Exactly. So what is it that we are using these monies for? When you look at what taxes goes into fuel costs in Ghana, you will sit and you ask yourself a lot of questions. At the end of the day, what do we use the taxes for? If you were using it to the benefit of the people, definitely they will be happy and still want to pay. But we don't do that. So we are in opposition, lie our way into government, one district, one factory, a very good policy, never thought through, sloganeering. One village, one dam in the northern sector. And you went and then collected heaps of sand and then made it run as a dam that cannot even contain water. When one rain drops, it breaks everything. Whose money are you using to do that? The same people you are doing that thing for are watching and seeing what you are doing. That doesn't help them in any way. On a dam. This is more of something that we should look at. And like I'm saying, a lot of things that especially this government has done. When we talk of free SHS.
Can we look to the economic rebound now? You can dovetail it in. But on the matter of the president saying that the economic rebound, we are on to good days.
This is, I don't know, President Akufo-Addo, Vice President Bawumia, and MPP in general. I don't know why normally when things change a little bit, they are so happy and want to jump onto whatever to tell the world that the economy is rebounding. What policies are they putting in place? What has changed? Look, let us not cause anger in the people. When people are suffering, cannot find food to eat, cannot find a place to sleep, then you come out and you tell them that the economy is rebounding. Rebounding. How? What is it that he's talking about? What is it that he's talking about? Yet he is continually increasing his government size with appointments here and there. Every day, President Nana Akufo-Addo is appointing people. Asante Bediatu, who is Executive Secretary to the President since 2017, today he's been made Ambassador at Large. We are not told specifically what particular mission that he wants Ambassador Asante Bediatu to actually do for this country. What is it for? 5 months to elections. You are appointing somebody like that who is already holding a position. Your government size, the corruption. There is a mission that he wants him to do, and he alone he alone knows what he wants as a deputy to do. But that is not what Ghanaians are looking for. When you continue to do this, you are putting anger in the people. They are suffering. Then you are not looking at ways to, relate their suffering. You are rather doing more of the things that they are looking on and saying that they are not happy. You just said something that you were in your office and you saw a fleet of V8s pass, and these were ministers. If somebody who is hungry seated somewhere and then seeing this vehicle passing, you are causing anger, because they say a hungry man is an angry man. And the explosion this can cause in the citizenry, we should be afraid of it. So to be frank, I don't know what the government or the current government is doing. Bawumia is the candidate of the MPP, calling on us to give him the steer to drive. Doesn't want to associate himself to the doings of, and of course, the bad nature of the government, telling us that he's a mate. How can a bad driver that you don't want to associate yourself with teach you how to drive well? In any case, have you acquired a license? We don't even know. And you want us to give you a car to drive. That is one thing that Ghanaians should be asking themselves. He is the head of the economic management team of our country. What policies has he put in place that this economy is like this? And what is he having under his sleeves that he thinks that if you give him the economy as a president, he can do better? A common running mate. Bawumia doesn't have the balls to choose. Excuse my language.
But we are told he has made a choice. It was actually the one last thing that we discussed.
We all know what went in there.
Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh.
And we are also told by some of their people that NAPO has been imposed on Bawumia. Even that, don't let us even consider that. All this while, we all know what was happening in there. That he couldn't choose somebody he think he should choose. We know the people he presented and they were rejected. These are facts.
Are they?
They are. We know.
How are they facts?
You see, so you see, we know that they presented names, they were rejected. But you see, that's what I say. He doesn't have the balls to take that singular decision.
It's early morning,
The Constitution says that.
It's early morning.
Thank you.
Let's rest it.
That what?
Early morning. It's 10 o'clock. Francis Pa.
Francis, it's still not morning.
It's morning.
It's 10
Not
o'clock.
early, but it's morning. I agree. So that choosing a running mate, which the Constitution guarantees you, of course, you have to do consultation, but that's taking you all this while. Just like in his case, when Nana Akufo-Addo has to put his feet down when he presented him to, they rejected him because he was not a member of the party. But they had to do some, some maneuvering in order to accept him, because they all thought that presenting to him on the basis of economy, he was going to do better. Look at where we are. And today he is bringing NAPO, which has taken him that long to bring. Can Dr. Bawumia have the guts to decide for this country when he's made a president? Those people who are around him that he can't choose somebody that he likes, but has to rely on NAPO today, they are the same people who will still be there. So Ghanaians, we are advising you, let us take heed of what is happening. The advice some of us are giving you is that Dr. Bawumia cannot be the president. Of course, his running mate that he's choosing cannot match our running mate in NDC, and that we are not afraid of anybody. We all know some of the things that NAPO said. That's even something he shot himself in the foot. And so we are going to the elections. We are ever prepared.
All right. Palgrave, let me bring you in at this time. And while at it, answer the question of why Dr. Bawumia settled on Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh as his running mate, in addition to the other matters.
So first, in relation to the other matters, let me pick it from where Lawyer Jantua spoke about the fact that there are people who are sleeping in kiosks and people sleeping on the street and people sleeping in front of shops. In America, people sleep outside as well. He knows. In London, people sleep on the street as well. I think that, you see, we should move away from that level of conversations, because, you see, the reality is that, yes, people are suffering and people's needs must be met, which is why we have a government in place which is meeting those needs. But if you come and you make those statements, I think that you're trying to paint a picture that it's only existing in Ghana. These things happen everywhere. If there are homeless people in London, there are homeless people in America, there are homeless people everywhere that you move around. But yes, of a truth, we're speaking about Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We're talking about the 2024 general election. The NDC is stating that Dr. Bawumia cannot be president, but they think that Dramani Mahama, who's been rejected in 2016, 2020, can be president again. I mean, for me, I think that, you see, I don't want to do a lot of politics this morning, but if we really have to do politics, then I'll go into the successes that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has struck as president of the Republic today, and teamed up with Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as his vice president. And I'm in no doubt in my mind that building on the existing foundations that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has done, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will do even better and best in the future of Ghana. Succinct to state very clearly for me that yes, there's been some appointments that the president has made. I'm sure that many of you have seen that the secretary to the president has been made an ambassador at large. I don't know what thoughts went into that, but it's the president's decision. He's made that decision. We'll congratulate and commend him. I think the secretary to the president still holds his role as secretary to the president. I'm sure, like it was with the ambassador at large, Dr. Mahama. I'm sure it's in that same right that Nana Asante-Bediatu has been made ambassador at large. I don't know the details of it, but
typically, what does an ambassador at large do?
Well, I think that in my understanding and estimation, it means that the president can send you to any of the countries where we have mission to represent him to do anything of national interest and significance, basically. And so it means that you're an ambassador without a particular designated country that you are in, because you are aware that ambassadors are usually serving in countries that we have mission in. And so if you're an ambassador at large, you have the fluidity to be able to move around and do other works on behalf of the country. That would be my estimation, for which reason Nana Asante-Bediatu has been promoted to that role.
All right, Palgrave, thank you for your time and for joining us this morning.
I'm very grateful.
All right. Let me bring in Mr. Jantua at this point. Mr. Jantua, I know it's a triple header.
I wanted to ask Palgrave if he's still on there.
No, he's not.
Okay.
He's at it.
Are people in Norway sleeping outside?
No way.
Are people in Sweden sleeping outside? Huh? People in Switzerland, are they sleeping outside? I don't understand why we compare ourselves to other countries. We are talking about Ghana. We don't want to sleep outside. The fact that others are doing it doesn't mean we should do the same thing. So it's no excuse. The housing policy of government should be put in place for people, for government to be able to build houses for the ordinary man. Low-cost housing for the ordinary man. And when those low-cost housings are built, politicians shouldn't now usurp it and take it for themselves, give to their girlfriends. Shouldn't. We don't have a
Sorry, what did you say?
You are now listening.
I missed it. What did you say?
Okay, I've said it.
Girlfriends?
Yes, I said it. I said when these low-cost houses are built,
Yeah.
politicians shouldn't now go and take and give to their girlfriends.
Why do they?
Don't they? Don't act innocent.
What am I guilty of?
Don't act innocent.
What am
but
I
it
guilty of?
happens.
What am I guilty of?
I said it happens. You're
What
asking me,
happens?
do they?
Yeah.
I said it happens.
You have evidence?
I said it happens.
How do you know?
If you don't know, it's okay.
How do you know? Where is the evidence
Go
of
and
saying?
ask Ghanaians. They'll tell you.
Do Ghanaians have the evidence
I
like
said
you do?
go and ask them. They'll tell
Police
you.
have been taking Ghanaians' money to buy properties for their
It's
girlfriends.
never happened. I say it's never happened.
I'm not saying.
It's never happened in
You are
this Fourth
saying
Republic.
It has.
It's never happened.
It has.
Don't play innocent with
Who
me,
did?
Francis.
Who did?
Don't play.
Who bought those properties for
I
their
won't
girlfriends?
allow you to put words in my mouth.
Am I? You
Okay,
made a statement.
all right.
I'm only asking for
So
clarification.
let's go on. An ambassador at large, as Palgrave rightly said, they are often entrusted with special missions or responsibilities and may be required to travel extensively or work with international organizations. Ambassadors at large may also be referred to as roving ambassadors and are typically accorded the same honors and privileges as ambassadors in residence. So I asked the question, what special mission or responsibilities does the president want Nana Bediatiu to perform. Is he not happy with Nana Bediatiu being his executive secretary? And anyway, does Nana Bediatiu still hold the position of executive secretary? Does he? Look, the constitution should be looked at, especially where the president's powers are concerned. You see, shouldn't he give us a reason why? Whose money is he spending? Not be the taxpayers' money. And taxpayer should not know why the president is appointing an ambassador at large. Is that what you're telling me? But he doesn't want to touch the constitution because it favors him. Look, some of the things that we practice in this country does not create the kind of homogeneous relationship we want with each other. It's as if it's them and us. It can't happen. It has to stop somewhere. It has to. It's not fair. The president should be able to tell us, I've decided to appoint X number of people to an ambassadorial position. Reasons being. And he started. Why did he stop? Once upon a time, when he was taking in ministers, was that 2017?
Yes.
He told us. He called them, come and stand by him. I'm appointing this person. Appointed, and Ghanaians were satisfied with it. Is he not there to satisfy us? Is he there to satisfy himself? Is that what he's there for? Are presidents there to satisfy themselves? I don't understand it. The constitution should be looked at. Those parts of the constitution that do not sit well for the governance in Ghana, we've got to change it. The president's powers, are they entrenched clauses?
Powers to do what exactly?
No, what he's doing. Powers to appoint and all that and not give reasons. Powers of spending. Are they entrenched clauses? If we are serious in this country, we need to push and look at our constitution again. The constitution is 30 years old. You cannot tell me that things that happened at the beginning of this constitution can cure things that are happening today. Today we have AI, don't we? Did we have AI 30 years ago? Did we?
No.
So it goes to show the constitution is a living document that needs to be looked at from time to time. Once upon a time, 984 pages of constitutional review was done. Where is it? And a lot of the things in that review could help revise our constitution. Because for the life of me, I don't understand how a president can appoint and not explain to the people. Cannot understand how. We are moving forward though. We are moving forward. And we are moving forward for the betterment of the country. No be so. We are not moving forward to live in the olden days. We are moving forward for the betterment of the country. So those things that hold us back, let's look to change. And the president, being a lawyer, she should have been the first person, and a constitutional lawyer at that, to be the first person to say, guys, let's have a relook of our constitution. Probably not everything could change. However, there are one or two things in there that we need to have a relook at and bring it to the fore. If the president is not going to do that in his time, please start it before you leave. You have 6 months to go. What impact at all will all these appointments he's making have on the country in 6 months? What? What? Is it not money we don't have that is going to be spent? Is it not? So, I rest my case.
What of the choice of Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh as running mate?
Me or who are you asking?
You.
Me.
Yes.
Well, so far as I can see, it is the purview of Vice President Baumia to choose. I know the Minister of Energy. In fact, he's my nephew. And I know him well. And I know the parts of him that people don't tend to know.
Don't tend to know.
Yes. Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh is somebody who, when you go to the ministry and you see how
He works.
he works, he listens. He's helpful. He's the kind of person who is detailed and has content. All of us have negative sides, don't we? And perhaps his negative side comes out, and that is what we see. Because you talk about the question of arrogance.
Is he?
Yeah, we all have arrogance in us, don't we? We all do. We all do have arrogance in us. But we should remember that we are working within a certain constraint, being a political party. The question I ask is whether the running mate of the MPP solicited views from the entire party as to his choice. Matthew Poku Prempeh is capable. He's capable. He's capable of being a running mate. He isn't the kind of person who you would say he does not have the capabilities to handle that position. But the one question you then ask, because of the way he is and how he is, will he not overshadow the running
Baumia?
mate? Yes.
You think so?
He could.
The flag bearer?
Yeah, he could.
He has
He
a
could.
stronger personality?
He has a stronger personality. He has a stronger personality. But let me ask the question. When President Akufo-Addo, when President Akufo-Addo was President Akufo-Addo, wasn't he seen as arrogant?
He was
Wasn't he?
accused of that, yes.
Yes, he was accused of being arrogant. Did people not vote for him? Did people not vote for him? Did Ghanaians not vote for him? But as I said, it is not as if Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh cannot handle the position. If that is the choice of the running mate of the MPP, so be it. I understand, and I heard from news, I wasn't there, that when he went to tell the president had some reservations, but they were able to,
Iron it out.
iron it out. What were those reservations? That we will never know. But I don't think that Matthew Poku Prempeh cannot do the job. I'm sure he can. And people, as they graduate into a certain position, can change. So if the flag bearer feels Napo is the one who can help, why not? Because remember, this particular election is centered on Ashanti. This
Can he deliver Ashanti?
I said this particular election is centered on Ashanti.
Can he deliver Ashanti?
I don't know. But if the MPP are able to get over 75%, the possibility is that they win the election, where Ashanti is concerned. And so everybody, every political party should be vigilant and start doing their work now. Start doing their work now. Because Ashanti has the largest constituency. I think it's 47 constituencies. Largest constituency. And if Vice President Baumia, flag bearer, feels Matthew Poku Prempeh is the one to help deliver Ashanti for him, which they say is their stronghold, which they feel a lot of Ashantis might not vote because they feel the current president has done nothing for Ashanti, and Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh can claw back that to get people to vote and vote for them. Let's see what happens. But this election is pivoted on Ashanti, pivoted on the economy, and also pivoted on the fact that they would compare mostly what President Mahama delivered and not what Vice President Baumia has delivered, but collectively what President Nana Akufo-Addo and Vice President Baumia have also delivered, and take it from there.
What are the biggest challenges that Dr. Opoku-Prempeh will have to surmount in this campaign?
I think the two things. If we're going to go by not personality, but by work, his time at the Ministry of Education and his time at the Ministry of Energy.
These two.
People would look at, so what happened? What did he do right? What didn't he do right? Compare it to the NDC. Compare it to, and in this particular instance, both vice president running mates, that is Professor Jane Nana and Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, have been in the Ministry of Education. So you will see the Ministry of Education would have a lot of impact in terms of what both of them did whilst they were sitting in that office. So let's see how it goes. It's going to be interesting. And hopefully there will be debates like there's been a debate in America between the running mates, between the flag bearers, and Ghanaians would have to judge for themselves. Yes, a certain percentage are die hard. Whatever you do, whatever you move, they will. A certain, and that's for both parties.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of those who are sitting on the fence, waiting to see. But most of all, the economy. People will use the economy to look at who they feel can turn this country around. Let me end by saying, I pity the next president.
How so?
I pity the next president because the next president coming in would not be able to revert some of the challenges we are facing in the shortest possible time. Especially when we have fast-forwarded our debt repayments into the future.
To 2027?
Yes. It is not going to be easy. And Ghanaians should know that the next president coming in, be it Mahama, be it Baumia, be it Shermatin, be it Cheddar,
Or
or CPP, whoever, it's not going to be easy. The economy is stranded. There is no money whatsoever. Do you know today, this government is still taking loans? Isn't it building it up? Because for me, Dr. Baumia hasn't been able to convince me on the economy that he can handle it. Because I expected, he being head of the economic management team, it will be at his fingertips.
Has John Mama convinced you in the past?
In the past?
Yes.
In terms of the economy?
Yes.
I'm yet to see
Based on the past?
some of the... on the past?
Based on the past?
Well, based on the past, he had his own challenges. But I would say some of the things he put in, like the sinking fund, and those types of things to take care, ESLA, those types of things. If I take it on that basis, you could see he was thinking way ahead. What has happened to all these things? Stabilization fund, all those things. What has happened to them today? Have they not been mortgaged? So I hope that Vice President Baumia, the leader of the MPP today, would be able to tell us more on the economy, because I haven't seen it. I haven't heard it that much. Most importantly, I think the Afafronto movement, they have been the first one who have detailed some of the areas they want to look at where the economy is concerned. I would not comment on what they've brought out now, because what they've brought out looks feasible. But I will wait for the party manifestos to come out and compare and see which of the manifestos can handle some of the challenges we are going to go through. And I would hope and I would expect that, please, any of the flag bearers who wins, please, let's begin to build a nation. Don't let us continue building political parties. Let's begin to build a nation. And what do I mean by that? Some of the things I enumerated from the protest of Kenya, let's try and put it in there. The communication, the transparency, the openness. And if it so happens that somebody who has been put in a certain position has done something wrong against state, they should take him on. Because you see, it's a service area. You are there to serve. And if you serve and you don't serve right and you do the wrong thing, you should be taken on, because the people's mandate should be taken seriously.
Let me ask you pointedly, since you mentioned all the other parties and how things are permutating, we are ending June this weekend.
Yes.
Monday begins July.
Yeah.
If in the month of July, a groundswell of supporters of your party come and say to you that Mr. Kwame Jantua, pick up forms and contest to be flag bearer of the CPP, would you do it?
What does that mean? I will win? Does that mean I will win?
That's not a question I'm asking.
Anybody who decides to be a flag bearer has it in him that he will win.
Do you have it in you?
I don't know whether I'll win. And I don't know whether I'll win because of the state of my party today. Ghanaians haven't really, in as much as they're looking for an alternative, I don't think
They will choose
the
you?
CPP is strong enough for them to choose me. Maybe if I said, okay, Kwame, go independent. But that is not my nature.
So,
Because I believe in politics,
Yes.
you need a vehicle to run with.
do you believe,
Not unless I say, okay, I'm forming my own. But you just can't form your own and expect to win.
can you trust your vehicle now to catapult you to victory, CPP, if you are to contest as flag bearer?
It will take a lot of things to be in place for that to happen.
Do you have the time?
No. Between now and the next election, no. If CPP or the Nkrumah's groups are looking in terms of taking power, 2028, that is if they start now.
Can you start that process?
I can start that process with others, not on myself. It has to be a collective process, not one individual.
Okay.
There has to be a collective process where we all have the mindset that in Nkrumah's groupings we are coming together. And it's not a question of who is going to be the leader. It's a question of building that Nkrumah's movement strong enough with the content for people to see they are ready.
But the leader needs to build that team.
Well, a leader needs to build that team. It will depend on the team who they choose as a leader. For me, service is key.
If you're called to serve, you would.
It depends. It depends. And I've said to you, if it so happens that we all, as a collective in Nkrumah's grouping, say, look, let's come together and let's move. And then they decide, the collective decide that, Kwame Jantua, we think you are the guy to move us. Then I'll have no option.
Than to
But
leave.
at the point, that hasn't happened.
Okay. Listen, we're out of time. We're done. I'll just give you a minute so we can wrap up.
All right, thank
Anything
you very
want
much.
to say
Just,
quickly?
just want to touch on some few items there. You see, the MPP has nothing to offer this country, Ghana. He raised issue about constitution. These were the people who boycotted the Consultative Assembly in 1990, 91, 92, thereabout. They didn't contribute anything to the constitution, yet claim they are ruling this country with the same constitution. Lawyer, you are a learned person. every law is made up of the spirit and the letter. And so the spirit and the letter dictates or sort of motivates you to be able to do something the way that the law states. It's not just about what? The letter.
Yeah.
And so if you were not part of the consultative assembly, means your spirit is not in that constitution. That is why MPP is behaving the way they are behaving. They should have been the first people to even look at the Constitution Review Commission's work to say they want to implement some of the things that Atamba's commissioned these people to do. But look, they've seen certain things in the Constitution that are good for them, so therefore, they want to do to their favor, but not the country as a whole. And so I've always said that, look, MPP will never do anything good for this country, considering the Constitution, because their spirit is not in the Constitution.
All right, Mr. Mbui.
I want to, just give me some seconds, I beg you.
I'm out of time.
And so Napo's issue, Napo is an arrogant person. Napo, we've all heard some of the things that Napo said in education sector when he rashly, what do you call it, implemented the free SHS. And we saw what happened, the green, the red, the yellow, whatever track system we subjected Ghanaians through. Somebody who was against Cater Sea Defense Project said something like this, that if they force the finance minister to put something like that in the budget, he will cause the Kumasi people to demonstrate against the government. This is discriminatory enough for Ghanaians to reject him. Mahama's investment in this country was futuristic. Like he was raising. Heritage Fund, Sinking Fund, Stabilization Fund, investment in energy sector, the oil force that we added to the one that Kufuor started, the airports and whatever, that made Ghana what we are today. Take those things out and you will see that MPP has nothing to offer Ghana and they have not done anything.
Roland, thank
I
you
want
for
to
your
use this opportunity to thank everybody that has listened to us, especially my wife, Catherine Kalimbui, and my party folks, everyone. Very important.
That is where you go after everything is
Sharp.
done.
Sharp.
Thank you. Thank
On
you.
that
for
note,
the
thank you,
opportunity.
gentlemen, for your time. Mr. Janso, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Roland Kofi-Mbui, thank you for your time and for joining us.
Go kill you with enjoyment.
That's it for Morning Star for this week. Thanks to all of you.